This is the story of an imaginary elephant. It starts, as such stories often do, a long time ago. This film is an experiment. Or maybe more appropriately, this film documents an experiment. An experiment in participatory storytelling, in imagination, in co-production, where the subject becomes the director. Let's meet that director.
Right. Could you please introduce yourself for the camera, your name, age, job, and any other ways you'd like to describe yourself?
Hi, my name is Jonathan Benjamin. I'm 27 years old, an environmental science master's graduate from Cape Town, South Africa, currently in Maun, Botswana, working on a project with an organization addressing human-wildlife conflict with the elephants and local farmers.
Why did you decide to join this filmmaking experiment?
In short, I was asked two days ago, and it sounded like an incredible project and an incredible experience to be part of. But I think also why I'm here in Botswana is to learn, to meet people. And this project, this film, to me, fits in with that. Meeting new people, met the filmmaker.
So let's get into it.
Yeah.
Imagine yourself in an alternate reality. It's still 2024. And everything is the same, except that there is only one African bush elephant left in the wild. How would your life be different right now?
I think it would be quite different, as I would not be here in Botswana. So I'd imagine I'd be back home, Cape Town, South Africa, pursuing or working for a different organization, hopefully in a similar scope of things, humans, wildlife, ecology. So what I would be doing, I don't think would be vastly different. I think my setting and location would be.
In this alternate reality, what do you want to do, get, or accomplish? In other words, what is your life goal?
I don't think my life goal would be vastly different to what it currently is. Not that I really even know what my current life goal is. I think throughout my entire life, and what I also hope to do in the future, is pursue things, topics, challenges, whatever it is that interest me. Obviously within the same sort of scope or realm. So in my alternate reality, I'd like to hopefully do something meaningful within the ecological but also human space.
It's 2024, and the world's last elephant was born just a couple of months ago.
find out about it? The birth.
I think in today's world, especially in this alternate reality 2024, I'd imagine things like social media and news and things like that all still exist. And I think there are lots of ways of getting this information, but I do think the birth of the last elephant, at least within the African context, would be made quite public. So I'd imagine I would receive this sort of information via hopefully news channels, in the hope that also this is quite a big issue and quite a big topic that people are addressing, as I think it would have some significant impacts throughout Africa.
What value does this last elephant provide for you, if anything?
In my childhood, I grew up outdoors. I grew up in game reserves throughout the country, and fortunately throughout Southern Africa as well, where it was the highlight to see an elephant, to see a lion, to see, the big five. And unfortunately or fortunately, lots of attention was drawn to the whole big five and not the smaller creatures, insects, birds, etc. Then maybe it's also the memories of, being with my family out in the bush, watching herds of elephants, and the sadness that I would never be able to, show my kids one day, this is the experience that I had, and this is what it looks like. It's something that I'm just going to have to describe. Actually just saying this news about this last elephant, it actually makes me even more sad. Thinking down the line what my future will look like. So it's actually changed my mind quite quickly here. Quite devastated by that.
So this is now the opportunity to start thinking, like, what is the story of my alter ego? Thinking about what do they want to do? What do you want to do, get, or accomplish? What the life goal is? What would be? How do we learn about your alter ego?
Sure, that is a tough one.
Yeah.
You're really asking me what my future looks like. I guess I could be there for the first steps if I wanted, given the opportunity to go, see the last elephant.
Mm-hmm. As somebody who's working in a similar field, maybe you were asked.
Through contacts, people I work with, we're going up to... Where is the last elephant?
Mount Botswana.
Mount Botswana.
Well, the Delta.
The Delta.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that option. I know you're not trying to tell me what to say, but I think you do have some sort of idea of what this one person also contributes. So the one is a more personal side, the one's more like a professional researcher side. So.
I mean, yeah, you're certainly right that I was looking for someone who works in research, does
let's go to the research side then.
But life is life, right?
Yeah.
You have work and you have family,
sure.
And you have X, Y, Z.
Well, let's try and stick more with the research side then and go with that.
Okay. How do you get to the Delta? Working for a different organization.
Let's say they flew us up.
For what purpose?
These are the questions. So kind of just, I don't know. Maybe there's a similar project happening up here and manage to see the last elephant at the same time. So shadowing a different company, working in the Delta, also looking at human-wildlife conflict. Yeah, so today we're off to meet a local livestock owner. We can look at maybe the carnivores and the livestock and, the challenges that local farmers face, with their livestock and, not really a fenced game reserve where animals are free to roam. Yeah, heading off to the more southeastern part of the Okavango Delta at the moment, and going to meet up with the local livestock owner. And hopefully he has some interesting things to share with me today. So he came up to view this project and very fortunate to go out on an expedition to see the last baby elephant at the same time.
But the purpose is working with the predators.
Yeah,
And there's that secondary
yeah.
objective of like, we still want to see that too.
Yeah. If that works.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just recapping to make sure that I make sense of it. How can we like show this happening when we film it separately?
Okay.
That's why I'm asking more like, what does it look like?
You should have told me that. I would have said a private jet, and you have to film it flying on. Exactly.
How do you balance the feasibility of what we can actually film in these imagined scenarios with what your alter ego wants to accomplish, the goals, and the exposition that you've set up with it? So like all those things have to work together to create something that sets up your character.
I see.
In these imagined worlds that we're filming. But that's your opportunity. Like, you are directing it, and I'm just here to bounce those ideas and help what is actually feasible from like a filmmaking technical perspective. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
All right, and yourself?
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks
Nice
for
to
having
meet
me here.
Yes, definitely.
Sure. Very nice place you got going.
Yeah, I'm trying. Season has been going bad. It's been quite dry.
Oh, it's disappointing.
Been
Sorry
quite
to hear
dry.
that.
Yeah.
And how your livestock coping?
So, because I have to walk a long distance to the borehole and get some water there, get it running. But I only do it once in a day.
Oh, I see. And you don't take them to the boreholes?
No, it's quite a distance because I think I have to walk like 7 kilometers or so.
The area in terms of, wildlife and, cars driving around?
Yeah, wild livestock, I do have some predators coming in. Got some small stock here also. Like my sheep, my goats, they go missing one by one. You got your hyenas also, got leopards, they sneak in. So I don't have any security measures yet regarding that. So
I see, sure. So if you don't have any measures in place at the moment, is there anything you would like to have put in place?
yes, I would like to have like big fences, because most of the farmers around my farm, they use fences and electric fences, because the predators, even if you use a fence, they can jump over. But if it's an electric fence, touch it once and then the instinct tells them don't go there again. Yeah.
So people have seen it all working, and they're
now following up on it right now.
Oh, that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's also good to share some of our experiences that we're having, some troubles. Because Botswana is big on livestock and yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it. And it's quite interesting to hear, because a lot of people have...
The year is 2032, 8 years after our last scenario. The world hasn't met the Paris Agreement's 2030 goal of a 45% decrease in global CO2 emissions. And it's clear that hard data isn't working. Botswana's Department of Wildlife and National Parks is taking an innovative approach. It wants to emphasize citizen science to monitor threatened and endangered species like this elephant. To do this, it's developing a mobile app that allows users to share data-backed stories about various species.
That's our scenario. My first question for you, what has happened to you in the last 8 years?
Sure, it's quite a hard question. It's like asking someone their 5 and 10 year plan. It's kind of also like me aspiring to, this is what I want to do in 8 years' time, or where I'd like to be, a bit in this alternate reality. What has happened to me in the past 8 years? Worked my way to the top, became a trillionaire, and retired.
And how do we film that?
In the past 8 years, I continued working at the organization I was with in Cape Town for another 2-3 years, after which I resigned and started up my own company. Allowing me to do remote work when I want, and allow me to travel as well. Working GIS, remote sensing, predominantly from home, but it's also allowed me to travel to some remote locations around Africa, see some unique places, people. Yeah, so it's been a wild 8 years, but it's been fantastic.
That's really good to hear. I'm happy for you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Jono, what are you holding?
Yeah, just a little camera trap that we've been using lately. At the moment, we pretty much using it just to, try and get as much data as possible about the last two elephants' movements here. Also, just what other animals are being used in the area, or not being used, or seen in the area where the elephants are.
So how is this being used for the app and the citizen science aspect?
Good question, thank you. I guess this doesn't really feed directly into the app, but I think it's the idea behind it. It's documentation of an animal in a certain area at a certain time, which the government has got the idea maybe from the use of camera traps, not only from me but from other people in the area as well who are doing similar work. And the whole point is that instead of having 10, 20, 30 camera traps set up, they have, I guess, thousands, in the sense that every individual now uses their phone to capture animals, to capture images of them, where you still have your GPS location, your timestamps, all the really necessary information. And from that you obviously get huge databases of variety of animals and variety of areas. So I guess similar sort of concept and similar application, just at a much greater scale.
Cool. Now we're getting into the rising action of your connection to the elephant somehow, and that's what we need to figure out.
I guess you can go into like the mapping side, which is pretty easy. It can be situated anywhere. I think that's quite an easy option. You're talking about climate change and how things haven't been met. So it could be using avifauna as a bioindicator for vegetation health in the delta. And obviously that has an impact on the last elephant as well. So everything, like all conservation efforts are linked. People can be having meetings, sharing information. How does one person's data collection compare to someone else's data? I'm not too trying to imagine what the delta would look like with just one elephant and what would have changed. I think it's quite hard to imagine.
Do you think you'd feel empowered enough to be able to, like in improv, as we have some improvisation of shooting something like that, you would be able to bring up certain points or certain elements of the fact that there's only one elephant left and it's affecting the ecosystem in XYZ way?
Yes and no. I think it depends on what sort of questions you would be asking, or would be to come up with together, I guess. I think the one thing I'm concerned about is being able to share the correct information,
right?
And not talk absolute rubbish. So I guess these are the last couple of images we got. Obviously you can see he's quite intrigued by the flash going off there. A bit surprised. I'm actually trying to see what we saw in this one. It's just some guinea fowl walking through there. Obviously even just the small stuff triggers the cameras. There he is again. A nice giraffe walking through. So as you can see, there's a road going there, so we obviously just wanted to monitor the movement on the road. Seeing what animals are also just using like human infrastructure and I guess man-made movement corridors. It's quite nice to see the continuity of the movement of the animals. Oh, fantastic! Look at that. There's a nice hyena as well. Yeah, so this is obviously quite important, just to see your herbivores, carnivores, a variety of different species using the same area, and obviously what that means for the whole system at large. There's a nice little honey badger as well. So showing quite a range of different species. Giraffe, hyena, a little honey badger. Oh, fantastic! A zebra as well. Sure. That is great. Eventually we got them after all of those images. Sweet. Look at that, the baby leading the mother. Yeah, so I guess, for us this is like the highlight. Seeing the elephants actually using, the areas that we were hoping that they would be using. So I guess this is, what we were wanting out of all of that. Sweet.
The year is now 2039. 7 years since our last scenario. The elephant's mother has been killed by poachers, leaving the elephant to live on his own. The elephant has become a symbol of Botswana's pride, and the Botswana Defense Force has been mobilized to protect his life.
Okay, past 7 years, things haven't changed a huge amount for me. Still working for myself, been very fortunate to travel Africa. But with one golden thread is Botswana's lost elephant, and working with that project and monitoring it and tracking it. So other projects, they come and they go, and very short-term projects, but this has been one project that's been quite a lengthy one. I'm very fortunate to be part of it.
Are you married?
Yeah, married. 2 children. Living the American dream, white picket fence. Work from home. Guess somewhat of a stay-at-home dad, if you can say that. Look after the children, but also pursue my career at the same time, and fully invested in both. So, that's been quite a big change, having to juggle both. Big day, first day at school. You must be pretty excited.
Very excited.
Sure. I'm very keen to hear how it all goes later on once you're back home.
Can't wait to tell you.
Oh, it's exciting. Well,
Very.
hope you have a good day.
Well, I hope so too.
I'll see you later.
Bye. Tight time. Okay, bye.
What's the climax in your story?
Yeah, so maybe droughts are becoming more prevalent. That's not the right word. More frequent, happening for longer durations, and it's obviously having a subsequent impact on not only the elephant but all other species. And seeing how the movement has changed since the mother has died, seeing how movements have changed and what its home range is. Now with the the droughts, what does that mean for the conservation efforts of the elephant? Because obviously all the animals come closer and closer to each other. So do all the tourists, so do those sorts of things. And, having to juggle the military inside the Delta and tourists. And
how do we show this?
I don't know.
Hmm.
You're the videographer,
Yeah, but
the filmmaker.
But you're the director. I work for you.
Damn straight. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm well, thanks, Jonathan. How are you today?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Been a while. How are things going that side?
It's busy, lots of work, lots of deadlines at the moment, as I'm sure you know.
Let's get straight into it then. Yeah, maybe the best way is just for me just to share my screen and just go over the last few weeks worth of data, and hopefully
That sounds great.
Yeah, so this current snapshot here, it's obviously doesn't say a huge amount on its own. It's still very much so in the beginning of the data collection. And I guess the point is just to create a new understanding of how and why the elephant moves rather than elephants move. Obviously they're herd animals, and that dictates a lot of their movement and a lot of their interactions and daily routines, if you can say that. It's quite a few cluster of points here, which we believe is a waterhole there, so that's also why we believe that it's coming here specifically to drink. After that, we again see it more so in like the rangelands or woodlands within the delta. Going between eating and drinking, with one outlier point, which still trying to understand.
From this data, have you seen any evidence of a change from previous patterns of migration?
These literally the first few weeks of this data, so very early to tell. But yes, we do expect the vast dynamics to change.
Thanks so much. This is very helpful for the report. I'd be interested in maybe touching base in a couple of weeks' time and seeing whether there have been any updates since then.
Awesome. Thanks again. Have a lovely day and look forward to chatting to you soon.
The year is now 2054, 15 years since our last scenario. The world has surpassed the 1.5 degree threshold of global warming that the UN set for 2050. In response, the UN is revising its Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Closer to home, the elephant is alone. There's no other elephant to learn from. There's no other elephant to interact with. He can't mate. The mobile app has proven to be very successful over the past 20 years and has helped in preserving hundreds of species that may have gone extinct due to the warming planet.
How have things changed in terms of your work?
I think my work hasn't changed at all. And I guess in many ways it sounds very boring. It's the same thing day after day. But it's becoming, in many ways, more refined, gaining a deeper understanding of this soul elephant, how it moves, how it responds to, I guess, the natural world and changes in that, and truly getting a deep understanding. So my work hasn't changed, it's more just my understanding that has. So I have been working a little bit with the app, maybe I shouldn't say with the app, but the data from the app has been feeding into our systems, so we can obviously, monitor the elephant in relation to other species. And obviously having so many people on board with the app has been fantastic. And, that's been refined over the years, and the data has just become more and more valuable. Obviously the kids have grown up, gone off to uni. The other oldest is just finished now. She graduated last year, which is amazing, and she's actually stayed at the university working for the community engagement department there.
And what does your son study?
He is studying geology at Rhodes University in Makanda, South Africa. Been traveling quite a lot, which has been fantastic. Went to go hike in Patagonia. So recently went to South America to go hike in Patagonia. That is fantastic. I'm here in Botswana doing a bit of work, but going on a safari and holiday at the same time with the family. Lots of travel around Southern Africa. Did a whole overland trip, which is fantastic. Spent like 2 months in the vehicle just driving. Lovely evening. I'm very, very fortunate the work also allows me to do that.
You're welcome. Enjoy your drinks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The year is now 2091, 37 years since our last scenario. The elephant is 67 years old, and he's nearing death. Members of the government are now debating almost daily about his fate. Some say a hunting permit should be issued with a hefty price tag, generating funding for other conservation efforts and saving military protection funds. Others say the economy is diversified enough with hunting permits for other species. Because Botswana is now the business hub of southern Africa and doesn't need that revenue, the moral thing to do is to let the elephant live out his last years.
What has happened to you in the last 37 years?
I guess not much. Properly retired. Living my best life. Sleeping most of the day. Yeah. Watching the news at night. Playing Sudoku. I guess being a proper old man. Yeah, it's about me at the moment. Yeah, I guess I have still been following the elephant. Obviously not as frequently as I used to. Yeah, I guess my following is very different these days. Hearing about everything through old friends and old colleagues. Obviously, that's what's on the news at the moment.
$250,000 US from this one hunting permit have gone directly back into government-led conservation efforts in the Okavango Delta as part of realizing Botswana's Vision 2096.
We're at the last phase of the whole film. My first question, what are your thoughts about this filmmaking experiment?
Been interesting, yeah. Some things were expected, some things were definitely not expected. But yeah, I guess it's also been quite interesting to learn a bit about myself at the same time.
What have you learned about yourself?
I think it's really forced me to think about, my future, whether maybe not so much exactly what I want to do, but more, things that I aspire to do, general ideas, general fields. So I think through this I've come to realize, ecology, GIS, map work, that sort of direction I do want to go, and clearly I'm somewhat passionate about it. So hopefully it's helped me guide myself and my own career path. So.
Could you comment a bit on the process?
Yeah, I think going through the interviews was challenging enough, forcing myself to think about, what my future would look like. I think then trying to imagine what it physically looks like in terms of like a film or something else, that was even harder. And obviously not being able to list every tiny little thing like the 20 dogs that I want and the names of children and, arbitrary things, or the color of my house. I think the things that are important to me came through. And I think for me, obviously, that's, family, that's work, and that's, just enjoying, being passionate about what I do. So those, I think just the fact that those came through was quite interesting, as I'm very intrigued and very passionate about a variety of other things that, has not come through in the film. And I think that's quite a good thing, actually.
So because it was a collaborative effort, I wonder how did you find working with me?
Horrible. Terrible.
I knew, even as I was saying, I was like, I know where this is going to go.
Yeah, you asked for it. I'm still waiting for my jet. No, it's been really cool. I don't know, I do consider myself a creative person, but in a completely different sense to you. So I think, my small art background and, your artistic side and, just chatting about ideas, even though we are skilled in two very different mediums or media, I guess. It's been really interesting to work with someone like that and see the overlap, see what sparks joy in both of our minds and our, I guess, I don't know what the word is, what we would like to see as like an end product. I don't know if I would do anything differently. I guess every time would be different depending on where I am in life, what my current goals are, what I'm doing, what I'm currently working on. So I don't know. Depends is also doing the film. I think that will also change the whole process drastically.
Is there any last words, wise words, or things that you want to say that I didn't ask or that we didn't get to? Any final thoughts?
What do we do with the last elephant? Extract its DNA, Jurassic World.
It took 13 weeks of planning and filming, dozens of story adjustments, and several schedule updates to portray Jono's alternate reality. In the end, we completed our experiment. But it doesn't have to be the only one. This was just one story of a story about an imaginary elephant.